this little film.
I am the rainforest. I watched them grow up here. They've left, but they always come back. Yes, they always come back. For my trees, their wood, my plants, their medicines. For my beauty, their escape. I've always been there for them, and I have been more than generous. Sometimes I gave it all to them. Now, gone forever. But humans, they're so smart, so smart. Such big brains and opposable thumbs. They know how to make things, amazing things. Now, why would they need an old forest like me anymore? Jungles, trees. Well, they do breathe air, and I make air. Have they thought about that? Humans, so smart. They'll figure it out. Humans making air. That'll be fun to watch.
Okay, so in as short as I can here, for the sake of time, we talked about some thoughts about designing and building in response to climate change that we're dealing with. So we kind of like to categorize it by defining our situation, our problem, our opportunities, and perhaps our future solutions. And I would like to emphasize the word "our" because it is our situation, our scenario, our possibilities that are here. And by our, I don't mean just us humans, but the entire our entire planet, actually, and all of the living beings that are on our planet. We are, in fact, all in this together. And so in Sector 9, resources and infrastructure, I think when we think about infrastructure, what is that? It's primarily the built environment that we are creating, but the infrastructure is also the planet itself. It's our forests, it's our geography, it's our oceans. That is also part of our infrastructure. And the resources, what are they? Again, it is the planet, not only our planet, perhaps as we start mining asteroids, the universe at large is our resources. But our resources is also our human spirit and our ability to evolve and to move forward. So here we are, this little dot out here, this little drop in the ocean of the cosmos. On so many levels, just microscopic in the whole microcosm of what we have. Yet this is all we have. This is us. This is where we are. This is, at least so far, the only life that we have been able to confirm that is in the universe. So in that sense, we're rather isolated, and we're in this, as I say, all together. And even on this little dot that's in the cosmos, the part of our planet that is actually alive, it's like the cambium of a tree. It's a very wafer-thin layer that is on the surface of our planet. If you were to reduce our planet to the size of an apple, it would be thinner than the skin of the apple. So it's a very, very precious, irreplaceable area that we're dealing with here. And you know, when mankind first evolved on this planet, we were born into a virtual Garden of Eden with biodiversity and all of the interaction of all of the life forms working symbiotically together. And then over time, I think, it was our innocence that was lost. It's, forgive us, God, we know not what we do or what we did. the advent of the Industrial Revolution and all of the promises that it foretold, who would have ever guessed that it would lead us inevitably to where we are today. So in one sense, we are the Earth, the planet is kind of expelling us from the garden. We have this conflict now between the natural environment and the technology that we thought was going to be our panacea for the future, that are now disconnected and discordant, that we need to figure out a way to bring back into balance. So clearly where we are headed, where we have been headed, is not sustainable, and it's very, very destructive, and there needs to be changes that are happening. Sorry. So yes, we are the weapons of our own mass destruction, and we've met the enemy, and it is us. And if you still need proof of global warming, here it is. And what is this doing to us? There's so many different aspects to this, all the way from, with the extreme climatic conditions that we are dealing with right now. So I think it's self-evident. Just look at what happened this last week, even in Texas. So we're dealing with calamity on an unprecedented level. For example, when it comes to our water resources, water of life, our bodies are 90% or more water. This is perhaps one of the most essential elements on our planet, if not the, that allows life to happen. And so we find that we have both too much and not enough water, all at the same time. This is a time lapse of Lake Powell that is drying up, that it feeds the water supply for a greater part of the southwest, but also feeds Las Vegas with power. So, when we start to compare all the various energy resources and how they are utilizing water, it seems very, very self-evident again, which directions we should be going. And then, to add insult to injury, we're pumping toxins down into the ground in order to squeeze every last little bit of fossil fuel that we can from the planet, and we have a very deceptive kind of mode that's going on right now with our economy supposedly bouncing back. But what are we doing in terms of the long-term effects of this? Not only in terms of polluting our aquifers, but also actually initiating earthquakes. And so it's a direction that obviously we cannot continue, and that we do need to take some drastic actions to resolve. Probably the most significant outcome of all of this with global warming is the rising oceans. This is what's being predicted right now, even here in the United States. What we are probably in for within the next century. And if you look at all of the ice that could be melting, and this is what we would perhaps end up with, which is not necessarily unrealistic. This might really be happening in the next 100 years or so. Think about the displacement of, a third of the world's population lives in coastal areas. So where are all these people going to go and be moved to? So we're dealing with some real issues. We're not in Kansas anymore, and if we are, then we may need our scuba equipment to do our farming. The biggest thing to me is also the effect that has on all of the species throughout the world. a mass extinction like we haven't seen since the extinction of the dinosaurs, and it's ongoing and it's horrific. And the question then becomes, are we going to be added to that list? So, here's our little blue planet, and we need to be careful about where we may be heading. So that's our situation. That's the reality. And what is the problem, though? How did we sort of get here? I think a big aspect of it is denial, and we're way beyond this being an inconvenient truth. It's a tragic situation that certainly our species has never seen before. And here we have politicians debating whether there's actually global warming, our oceans are rising or not. So politics is, our dysfunctional government is playing a big role in this, and we need to vote and do something about that. And of course, our economic system, the global economic system, that is based upon a form of limitless growth, which is sort of the definition of a cancer, and growth that's based upon money as compared to a financial system that's based on health and the quality of life. So that's really how we need to transition our global financial situation in order to stimulate our recovery. Another aspect of this too, I think, is that so much of what we're dealing with right now, so many people just can't even get a grip on it. So they're in denial, and it's kind of a grief maybe that we're all in the process of going through here. But I would like to suggest that it's time to kind of get over it at this point, and get on with our reconstruction. It's time to get on with our grieving process and move on and take some positive action. And then another aspect, is just ignorance, just simple ignorance, which is different than intelligence, I would say. It's a matter of just kind of getting with the program and understanding what the world is really all about. And different models of our visualization of our place as a species on the planet and the world. It's always been this hierarchical. We are, the best of all of the animals, and which is very egocentric, as compared to the reality that we all of our lives and all of the plants and animals and everything, all the life forms that are on this planet are interwoven. And so we are within that, we have a place within that, but this notion that we need to overpower and dominate nature needs to be reconsidered and adjusted. We are all in this together, the entire planet. And another aspect too is that our religions are obsolete religions that are based more upon myth. Need to be reconsidered and I think evolved into more of a general spirituality that is universal between all religions. So, what is the path that we're going to be taking, or that we need to take, we must take? It really comes down to evolving ourselves into a way that we are living in harmony with the rest of the world and the natural systems. And there was some speaking earlier about symbiosis and symbiotic relationships. I think what we need to evolve toward is the mutualism, where we live in concert with all of the life on the planet in a harmonious, co-creative, symbiotic way, as compared to what we in fact have become as parasites, and we are killing the host that we are thriving off of. So mutualism is really, I think, what needs to be the new model that most species on the planet have figured out a long time ago and evolved, where there is a co-creative interrelationship that is cooperative as compared to competitive. So we are nature, and nature is us, and that is the essential relationship that I think we need to adopt. And the planet's health is our health, and vice versa. So what are our opportunities then? How can we move forward from where we are? There's been a lot of this buzzword, sustainability and sustaining, and I would like to suggest that I think that notion or that concept kind of puts the cart before the horse, in the sense that we're really not wanting to sustain what we have particularly. What we're wanting to do is regenerate and revive. And so I like this acronym of growing crops. The first thing is conserve what we have, recycle, optimize our existing systems, then think about producing, and then sustain that. So really the principles of regenerative environmental design, I think, come into play, where design is a way of life, and it's not an afterthought. And one of the ways of doing that in the building world and the design world is by rediscovering a lot of the vernacular solutions that you find worldwide and utilizing those. And so when we think about this, I think the notion of the elements, earth, air, fire, water, spirit, come into play. The earth, actually it turns out that the vast majority of all the dwellings on the earth are built of earth, or one form or another, all the way from adobe to brick. So rediscovering all these vernacular solutions that are really rather timeless. Air, fresh air, indoor air quality is important. Natural daylighting, fresh air ventilation, of course, wind power. When it comes to fire, using the sun to heat our water, to heat our spaces, and of course photovoltaics for generating power and electricity on every scale. And water, recycling, reusing it, and as these oceans are rising, we're headed for a water world in many areas. So you're going to be starting to see communities and new structures that really take this into consideration, as we will be moving into the water and even under it as we look to find refuge from the loss of land. And the integration of all these systems, of all these resources into our dwellings and our buildings, and that becoming our new infrastructure. And tomorrow, Mark Drazier and I will be talking more about the formation of micro-communities and the tiny house movement. Actually, it's Block 3 in Heath 43, and it's 133 instead of what's noted there. But we'll be talking more about all of this tomorrow for any one of you who may be interested. But I think the formation of new communities is imperative. It's really important. This is one of the solutions, the utilization of resources and working together. We'll be talking more about this tomorrow, but certainly a master site planning is paramount to getting this set up and doing it right. As it applies to, again, the utilization of all the local resources and creating both communal and private spaces. And so we'll be talking more about this tomorrow. Tiny houses, a lot of folks are downsizing. They come in all shapes and sizes and categories. So we'll be getting into more of these options tomorrow. But ultimately, I think the solution that we're really talking about is a new model, our symbiotic solutions, letting nature alone to a point where it can actually perhaps heal itself, and the idea of what's called biophilia or biomimicry, where we're, from a design standpoint, we're actually utilizing nature's inherent design and applying that to our built environment. So lastly, our future solutions. Here's kind of where we are, I guess, at the moment. We're called the information age. I would like to think that actually we're evolving very quickly now into what might be the more of a spiritual age. This is, as we've evolved to this point, and it's my own belief that we may be right on the cusp right now of another division in our species tree, not unlike the Neanderthal and the Cro-Magnon, where the people in the societies who do not live harmoniously with the natural environment will fade away, and those who do will survive. I think that's where we are. And so, we also need to think about how do we want to evolve? Do we all want to become, cyber robot, genetic mutants? Or, where do we really want to go with this? And I think the bottom line, though, does become spirit, as many of us have spoken about already today. So we are looking at evolving, I think, as a species. This is our opportunity, a rise in consciousness and awareness that will enable us to evolve and to heal the planet and to return to the garden. Is where we can go as children of Mother Gaia. And so, in conclusion, these are relative questions. What if our religion was each other? What if our practice was our life? If prayer was our words? What if the temple was the earth? If forests were our church? If our holy water was our rivers, lakes, and oceans? What if meditation was our relationships? If the teacher was life? If wisdom was self-knowledge? If love was the center of our being? So the bottom line is, yes, I think our universe is a love story, and it's my personal belief that the universe was created in the first place so there would exist that which to love. Thank you very much.